Welcome back to the Ignite Vanguard podcast. Today, we're looking at the AI surveillance state, how Texas A&M is using AI to monitor every professor.
September 2025, a student at Texas A&M University sits in a children's literature class. The professor, Melissa McCall, is discussing gender identity in the context of modern children's books. The student pulls out their phone, opens their voice recorder app, and presses record.
The student doesn't ask permission. They don't tell the professor. They just record. For weeks, they capture every word McCall says about gender, identity, and representation in literature.
And then, in late September, those recordings go viral. Conservative media outlets pick them up as well. Texas politicians start tweeting. The outrage machine kicks into overdrive.
Within days, Texas A&M fires Melissa McCall. The university says she refused to change her course content to match the catalog description. McCall said she was teaching exactly what she was hired to teach, that course descriptions have always been broad, and the professors are supposed to design their own syllabi based on their expertise.
But here's the thing. This wasn't just about one professor. This was the spark that lit a much bigger fire.
On November 13th, 2025, the Texas A&M University System Board of Regents held a meeting. They were going to vote on a new policy, a policy that would fundamentally change what it means to be a professor in Texas.
The policy would require presidential approval for any course that could be seen as advocating for race and gender ideology. And to enforce it, Texas A&M would build something unprecedented in American higher education. This was an AI-powered surveillance system to monitor every professor, every syllabus, every single word.
This is the story of how a secret student recording led to the creation of America's first academic police state.
And why Texas A&M Regent Sam Torn said this is just the beginning. He said, "Let it be noted that the Texas A&M system is stepping up first, setting the model that others will follow."
Welcome to the Vanguard. I'm Sovik.
And I'm Zach. Today, we're talking about the AI surveillance state and why it should terrify every parent who cares about their child's education.
So let's talk about what this policy actually says, because the language is chilling.
The policy defines race ideology as attempts to shame a particular race or ethnicity, or anything that promotes activism on issues related to race or ethnicity rather than academic instruction.
And gender ideology is defined as a concept of self-assessed gender identity replacing and disconnected from the biological category of sex.
Now, here's the key part. No academic course can advocate race or gender ideology, or even topics related to sexual orientation or gender identity, without presidential approval.
Presidential approval. Think about that for a second. Every time the professor wants to teach about civil rights, gender studies, or LGBTQ plus history, they have to get permission from the university president.
And if they don't, they can be fired, just like Melissa McCall.
But wait, it gets much worse. The policy also says that faculty are prohibited from teaching material inconsistent with the approved syllabus for each course.
So not only do you need approval to teach certain topics, but you also can't deviate your syllabus at all. No spontaneous discussions, no responding to current events, no intellectual flexibility at all.
This is what academic freedom looks like when it's dead.
Now, the Board of Regents held a public hearing before the vote. They received 142 letters of written testimonies. 10 professors testified in person, 8 against the policy and 2 in favor for the policy.
Let me read you some of what the professors said. This is Andrew Klein, a professor of geography.
The vagueness of the language is problematic. Faculty are now assuming that all instructions in the topic of concern will be prohibited. While subjects like medicine, public health, and law, where such content is required to prepare professionals for Texas workforce, be disallowed. That was the quote.
And this is from Martin Peterson, a philosophy professor.
He said, "When he seek the truth, we sometimes have to explore ideas that touch on controversial issues. It is not always clear that what counts as advocating for an ideology in those contexts.
But the most powerful testimony came from Miranda Sachs, a European history professor. She said that under this policy, she wouldn't even be able to teach about the Holocaust.
The Holocaust, the state-sponsored murder of more than 6 million Jewish people, one of the most important historical events of the 20th century.
And she can't teach it because teaching about the Holocaust involves discussing race, ethnicity, and the systematic attempt to shame and exterminate an entire people.
Now, Regent John Bellinger tried to walk this back. He said, and I quote, "There's got to be some common sense in this. I think they're taking it a little bit too far when we talk about that we're not going to teach about what happened in world wars."
But here's the problem. The policy doesn't say use common sense. It says you need presidential approval. And if the language is vague enough that a European history professor thinks that she can't teach the Holocaust, then the policy is doing exactly what it was designed to do,
Which is,
to create fear, to make professors self-censor, to ensure that no one takes any risks.
and when a professor asked Regent Sam Torn to clarify the difference between advocacy and teaching, Torn said, "I'm not going into the details with that because we made it very clear that the presidents of each institution are charged with that responsibility."
In other words, we're not going to tell you what's allowed. You'll find out when you get fired.
Okay, so we've got a vague policy that gives university presidents the power to censor any course they want. But how do you enforce that across 12 universities with thousands of faculty members?
This is where it gets truly dystopian.
On the same day, the Board of Regents approved the policy. They also previewed a new AI-powered audit system. Every semester, every course from all 12 Texas A&M system schools will be fed into a database.
Every syllabus, every reading list, every assignment, all of it goes to AI.
And the AI will analyze the content for anything that's not aligned with approved syllabi.
James R. Hallmark, the vice chancellor for academic affairs who's leading the audit, said that at the meeting, quote, "The depth of analysis is unprecedented in such reviews."
Unprecedented. That's one way to put it. Another way would be Orwellian.
The AI will look at whether the course is part of the core curriculum, whether it's a major requirement or an elective, where it's taught, and how many students are actually enrolled.
And here's the key part. Hallmark said the purpose is to understand if the course was truly an elective, a choice of the student, or if in some way a student may have had no other choice but to take that particular course. Wait, I don't think the audio's coming in. Yo, can you hear me?
Wait, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, for some reason the audio's tweaking.
Ah, bro, it's because Mary and Cole.
Oh,
Are we in the studio right now? What happened to that recording though?
it can't be that ass, bro. Bro, what's Mary doing?
Should I go on Do Not Disturb? Yeah, I'm gonna go on Do Not Disturb. Yeah, now Riverside tweak. Oh, recording is being uploaded. Okay, so I think we